And we're back. I just want to show you something. If there's a way to share the screen, check this out. I think we could stay the whole time. So if you're going to stay awake tonight and trade some futures, now I bought them here, right? I was up a little bit. Again, if you're buying one contract, it's not much you can do. But if you have two contracts, then it's a whole different ball game, right? So two contracts, you can let it breathe. Usually I'm using lows of the day. So I think we're still, you see where we just went to right there? That's a pivot point. That's 2100. So that's my first stop. So I don't mind that it could go under VWAP. I'm just not going to let it break down here or here. So if you got two contracts, one contract stops there, one contract stops there. Now, the only reason I'm using stops is because I want to walk away from the desk. I don't use stops anymore because let me show you something. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it. Last week on some QQQ options, you probably won't be able to see it because they were Friday's options. Yeah, they're gone. But I put a stop on an options contract. They absolutely robbed me. So because in option contracts, and I had a stop limit. So but they limited it. They opened the spread up to basically stop me out, and they brought the spread back up. The underlying stock wasn't even moving. In fact, it was going down. I had naked calls. They opened the spread up just to stop me out of my contract. 600% away from the money. And I'm telling you, it was a 5-cent option. It was down at 2 cents, and they printed it at 12 cents. Basically 600% out of the money. Just absolute robbery. I sent them an email. I want a formal investigation. Because if it was real money, like I'm talking like it was like a $120 trade, but imagine I had like real size on and they robbed you like that, it shouldn't be allowed. But I don't use stops anymore if I don't have to. And usually if I'm sitting at the desk, I'm never putting a stop on ever again. Seriously. So when I say, hey, listen, I'm going to get stopped out of this trade at this price, I'm not putting a stop in. I'm not going to announce to the matrix where I want to get robbed anymore. I'm done. I'm done using stops. Fuck it. If you're sitting at the desk, if you're in a position you want to go take a dump and your dump's going to take 20 minutes, then maybe you should put a stop on. But if you're in a non-volatile moment, you don't need to put stops on. So, oh yeah, I mean, it's happened to me, bro. It's happened in the futures contracts more so than anything before. There was the night, and again, this is going way back, the night of the Sri Lankan tsunami. I'm short, coincidentally. I'm hearing tsunami. Futures lock limit down. I'm walking in thinking I'm going to be up about $6,000 on the one contract, right? And I see I got stopped out, and there's this one candle, this weird wick in the middle of the night. That was my print. I wish this was a bullshit story. So I called him up. I was like, how could you print me 30 points out of the money? Sir, that's where the market was at the time. I'm like, no, it wasn't. Look, the market was down here. You printed me way up there. That's where the market was there at the time, sir. I'm like, no, it wasn't. And they wouldn't even hear my argument. I'm like, it's impossible for a spike like that to happen and come right back. That just proves it's fake. There was no flow there. The one print was my one contract. How is that possible? And no answers. So that was the night I did the video. Stop losses are for pussies and faggots. And I mean it. We're allowed to use that word again, right? Trump. We're allowed to use that word again, right? There are no words that are bad anymore. But so I'm going to leave it running. I don't know if I don't want to like be doing nasty things in the background and you guys overhear me. So I don't know. I might just mute it. But can I mute it? Yeah, I can mute it. But more or less, I'm still in the one contract right now, right? So I'm thinking if this was a foe and a show, the next move should be the bro part, right? I don't trade crypto. I own it. And I'm apparently the greatest hodler there is. I'm still in the same shit I bought back in the day, the Ripple, Ralph, Doggy Coin, and Bitcoin. I'm in Algo X now because if you're going to own a fake currency, you might as well name it Algo. I'm trading futures to hedge my short position. Yeah. Plus, it's the only thing alive right now. But so basically what I'm talking about, and this is why I made this video in the first place, because I was talking about how I went short over the weekend. And last time I went short over the weekend, I covered at around 6 o'clock in the morning. And then I did a video, and this guy was like he was calling me out. He's like, you said the market was going to crash on Monday. I'm like, it did. At 6 o'clock in the morning, it was down huge. And then it recovered throughout the day. Doesn't mean, and so now I just want to make sure everybody knows that I'm not trying to bullshit anybody. I went short on Friday, and now I'm going to hedge myself out of that position. And at 8 p.m., when the QQQ goes long, I'm probably going to get out of it. Why not? This is what I thought we'd see. 500 points down on the NASDAQ futures. I'm not going to not take the money. I could always reshort. So I'm long one position. But what you're seeing right here, that's the fake out, shakeout. So you're faking out. You broke the recent low. Then you broke down, and then you came right back, and you're above the VWAP. Fake out, shakeout. The next moment will tell you what's going to happen. So within the next 10 or 15 minutes, if you can stay above VWAP, get above here. If you break the opening tick high, we're going up. So I'm not going to let my money disappear. So I'll hedge myself with one contract, and I'll buy a second contract if we break there. And then if I have to go to sleep, which is probably going to be the case, I'm going to have to use stops. But if we're above this price right here, which is the 2120, if we're above 2120, we could rip. We could rip. Because no matter what Trump does and what he says, the market never goes down, right? It's just ironic that he's causing this downside volatility. And there's no doubt. That's why I just wanted to make that video to my delusional Trump fan friends, or I can't call them friends anymore, my acquaintances. My friends know who they are, but my Trump fan acquaintances that never think this is causation at its best. He did this. This moment we're living right now, inflation going up, stock market going down. This is specifically what he's done. And there's no denying it. Don't even try to deny it. That's all. I don't think the market's going down. It's never going to go down. Even if it crashes 50%, it'll be the greatest buying opportunity ever. If Nvidia is at $80, everyone's buying it. If the Qs are back to 385 in March, everyone's buying the market. Everyone's buying the market. The only true thing that would derail this market would be nuclear war, meaning we're all dead. We're about to go into a new world. I don't care that you got scared out of your AI stocks or quantum stocks a couple of weeks ago with a DeepSeek. DeepSeek was bound to happen. What do you think? Every country is going to have their version of an AI. Competition is going to make everything better. We're going into a new world, man. Quantum, AI, space rockets, robots colonizing Mars, deep space exploration. Come on. This is going to happen. Whether we're alive for some of the amazing stuff that's going to happen, yeah, whatever. But this is the beginning. This is like 1977 tech all over again when we started exploring transistors and getting into all kinds of stuff. Well, Qubits seems a little bit more legit. I don't know if Kit's even a real company. I own Lunar. I still don't even know if it's a real company. But so far, so good. It's still hanging. It gets bought on every dip. When your stock stops getting bought on the dips, that's when you got to dump it. Or rule number one, if you're in a stock, right, and you don't think, well, if you're in a stock personally and you're not confident enough to buy more of it, then just sell it. Forget it. That's one of the first rules I ever learned in investing. If you're not confident enough to buy more of what you're in right this second, then you really don't want to be in it. I think we see 485 on the Qs. And I think that's a major buy spot. And if we break there, the most we're going down. So right now, even at, what are we down? We were at let's say 418, a 20% crash off of 518, right? 518 times 20%, right? It's 103 points. 518 minus 103. It's the lowest we're going. 418. And if we over, that's why I said I threw 385 out there. That would be the crash. And if the Qs are at 385, I'm calling everybody I know to borrow money to buy them. Because if you go to 385, there's the 3-year VWAP, right? So right above here. So in theory, I really do think it can happen. But let's see if we can get 5% down first before thinking we're about to crash to the 385. But if you look at it, look here, this is serious levels, right? There's the 468. That's the 1 year, right? Obviously, I think that's doable. But what's really doable, here's the monthlies. That's what we're going to break tomorrow, right? So the monthly, now you look at 3 months worth of data, and it really will show you the whole thing. So here's 3 months. That takes the Trump bump into consideration, right? We're breaking that tomorrow. So now we're going to be down. We're going to be in this realm. We're still going to be above that. We'll be right here tomorrow, right around the 502.50, maybe the 505, right? And watch this. That's 6 months worth of VWAP. That's 492.20. Look at this price right there. That would be one of those Zach Hurwitz moments. This is where Zach would say, "Hey, you're already." See, I would take the tops and the highs and look where the middle grounds, where a lot of tops and bottoms of candles meet. That's specifically, it's a very important area. Then you have a gap in there, and the bottom of this candle is right in the middle of the gap. That's where you draw the line. And look, it's pretty much right there with the 6-month VWAP. So when I was doing this for my whole life with candlesticks, just plotting my own support resistance around price, Zach was sitting there watching me, and he said, "Bro, you're trading VWAP and multiple time frame VWAPs, and you're doing it in your head." So I started doing my chart, and I would line it up with the multiple time frame VWAPs, and then eventually I just said, "You know what? I'm just going to let the VWAP do the talking." So that's where I think. I think for sure, I would bet my life really at this point that we're going to see 492.25, like really, like maybe even tomorrow. That's where it gets scary, because if we do break the 492.25 area, right, then you got this 9-month spot. That's the 485. So again, another Zach Hurwitz moment. Tops and bottoms where pivot points are meeting is where I draw my line, and look where that gets me. That gets me to about 486 and change. VWAP's telling me 483, 483.77. So if we break the 3-month, I think we get the 6, the 9, and then inevitably we get slammed down. And at 468.35, that means NVIDIA is probably sub 100. I'm in. You give me NVIDIA under $100, I'm buying at least 1,000 shares. At least 1,000 shares. I've been sitting in cash for a specific reason, to buy the crash. Right? I've missed enough of this upside. So now if it crashes, I'm going to put it to use. So I'm sitting here. And again, 468 is where I start. If I haven't bought already at 485, I'm definitely buying 460. And if I'm wrong there, that's the 420 low. That's the August fake crash low. That might have to come back into play. And you just said it great. While all this happening, while all of this crashy stuff is happening and the downside's happening, don't forget, UVXY will inevitably go back down. Good point. I would, Kit. I don't know how I feel about that. We had such a great trade on it. I haven't traded it since. Once it broke under 5, I figured it was going to go back to 250. I actually haven't looked at this one in a while. RR was hanging in there a little bit better, but they're all giving way. And the one that started it all, the ASTS, it finally broke down, yet still didn't give it up. ASTS started this whole craze. ASTS got the rockets and the robots going. AI turned into the quantum. The robots and the kits are robotics, and there was something else going on with this company. I forgot what it was. But I don't even know whether these companies are real or not. They were just all coming off those same charts, And again, if a stock doesn't have options, you can't trust it. It's hard to trust stocks without options. Kit has no options. And that's why the only stock I own right now is Lunar, because I have options and I could be in it without having to risk the 21 points or the 25 points. I already got out of SOUN, turned a winning trade into a loss because I held the calls. Calls expired worthless. wasted the whole freaking 8 points. I was up about 8 points. I wound up making nothing. It was awesome. So I blew this whole fucking trade because I got greedy. It gets to 25. I figured, all right, if it pulls back to 22.50, it'll be all right. And then it rolled over, got slammed, and I just let my, I had some Januaries on from, I bought the January call spreads when we came out of this base, and they all just expired worthless. Just awful trade. I mean, I was up huge, and I just gave it all back. On the call spreads. Because I didn't want to take the loss on the upside. I was hoping they would stabilize, and just they all wound up expiring worthless. Just stupid. And sold the PayPal, wound up going up 10 points after I got out. I even sold Rambus. I'm not even in Rambus anymore. At least that one I sold near the highs. I sold it on the way down around 59.50. I own the dividend paying stock now. New Jersey Resources and Lunar. That's my portfolio. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you're out there, futures trading. Let's go back to the futures. Hold on a second. All right, we're just chopping around. That's good. We're not faux showing. I mean, we faux and we showed. We're just not broing. But I don't want to wake up in the morning and see a big fat green candle up 200 without hedging myself and letting this whole trade go to zero like I normally do. And again, I've been so beaten down. I've been so scarred. I've been so destroyed. No, I'm still digging out of the August hole. It's going to take me a long time. But that's why I'm not making it back anytime soon. I can't. I was thinking about putting my what I had left of my life savings, trading life savings. I keep my trading and my real estate and my working capital separate. My trading career got annihilated in August. Absolutely fucking lit up. If I had the money, Friday would have changed my life. But I'm so beaten down. I'm so torn apart, especially from shorting and obviously UVXY. I just couldn't do it. I couldn't do it monetarily. I couldn't do it physically. I couldn't do it mentally. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. I was on the wrong side of all the VIX products. I had close to 37,000 shares short of UVXY, and they opened up 30 points in my face. How you doing? How you doing? Yeah. Yeah. I was breaking up pills in my house just to see what they would do. Yeah, it got nasty. I think I smoked a piece of bark that night. I was just smoking anything I could find. Yeah, it was just awful. And then I tried to stay awake for 48 straight hours. It was just stupid. If I would have got some sleep, I probably could have fought my way through it a little bit better. Then I got the margin call, and then it was over. So I think Charles Schwab himself had to call me twice because I didn't pick up the phone. So yeah, it was pretty awful, but I'm still here, and the reversal trades still work. Tesla, Microsoft was phenomenal. Apple was the greatest trade in the history of planet. I mean, if I would have put the same enthusiasm into that Apple reversal on Friday, I probably would have made $3 million. But now I just don't. I don't have the liquidity now to do it. But Dave, if you watched that last video, I didn't mean to rip on you so hard, but not one of the earnings reversals has failed this year, and you've somehow managed to lose $400. That's a fucking talent, actually, in itself. You managed to take a trade that works every time and somehow wound up losing on it. Impressive. So you got 5 days to prove yourself, and I'll give you 5 more days. Maybe not 5 days, maybe 6 days, because tomorrow you're not doing anything until I tell you to do something. But the algo's up and running. We got the entries are being alerted. The exits are being alerted. I'm so close to just automating this trade that I've been talking about for 12 years. And then, hopefully we start doing 510, 510x, 510K a day, and that'll add up. Make $5,000 a day for a year. It's about $1 million, right? Yeah, $4,000 a day. $4,000 a day is about $1 million for the year, right? Yeah, that's my goal. So far, so good. We're like basically 12 for 12 or 13 for 13 on the algo. Tesla reversal was awesome. We had the whatever Starbucks and all the earnings reports. They've all been pretty good. All right, I'll check back on you guys in about, I don't know, 2 hours. I'm gonna go watch some TV, do a couple of bong rips, maybe watch some Academy Awards. I'll be back at 11, and I'll be back at probably 1 o'clock, and then I'm gonna fall asleep. And hopefully by then we'll see where we're at. All right, be careful out there. See you in a couple hours.